The desert wind howled through Blackstone Canyon as Jake Morrison rappelled down the jagged cliff face, his headlamp cutting through the pre-dawn darkness. He'd been tracking the strange energy signature for 3 days, ignoring the warnings from his research team back at base camp. Whatever had crashed here wasn't on any official registry. The cave entrance yawned before him, obsidian walls still warm to the touch. Inside, the air shimmered with an otherworldly heat. Jake's equipment went haywire as he approached the center chamber, where a crystalline pod lay embedded in melted rock. Through the translucent surface, he saw her. She was humanoid but undeniably alien, skin like polished bronze with veins of light pulsing beneath the surface. Her body was lithe and graceful, dressed in what looked like living fabric that moved with her shallow breathing. As Jake circled the pod, her eyes snapped open, violet irises that seemed to peer into his soul. The pod cracked with a sound like breaking ice. She gasped, struggling to sit up, her body trembling with weakness. When she spoke, her voice resonated in his mind as much as his ears. "Please," she whispered, reaching toward him with a delicate hand. "Feed me, and I'll change everything." Jake stumbled backward, his rational mind screaming warnings even as something deeper urged him closer. "What do you mean? What are you?" "My name is Kira," she said, her accent melodic and strange. Was a keeper of ancient knowledge. My people exiled me for refusing to weaponize what I protect." She winced, clutching her abdomen. "But now I'm dying. The crash drained me." "Drained you of what?" Jake knelt beside the pod, medical instinct overriding caution. "Life, essence, energy. What you would call connection." Her eyes locked onto his. "My species evolved to share sustenance through intimate bonding, physical touch, emotional resonance. It's how we transfer knowledge, power, abilities." Jake's pulse quickened. "You mean—" "I need you to feed me your energy," Kira interrupted, her voice weakening. "In return, I can unlock potentials in you that your species hasn't discovered yet. Strength, perception, the ability to influence matter itself." She reached for his hand. "But if you refuse, I die here. And the hunters tracking me will claim what I protect." As if summoned by her words, a distant rumble echoed through the canyon. Red light flickered across the cave walls. "They're already here," Kira whispered, fear flashing across her beautiful features. "Choose now, Jake Morrison. Trust me, or run." Jake's mind raced. Every scientific instinct told him this was insane. Yet the way Kira looked at him, vulnerable, desperate, but somehow still dignified, struck something primal in his chest. "How?" he asked, his voice rough. "How do I feed you?" Relief flooded Kira's face. She extended both hands, palms up. "Skin contact first. Let me draw from your natural energy field. As I strengthen, I'll need more intense connection." Jake pulled off his gloves with trembling fingers. The moment his skin touched hers, electricity shot through his body. Kira gasped, her eyes fluttering closed as light began flowing from his hands into her veins. The sensation was unlike anything he'd experienced. Not painful, but intensely intimate, as if she was pulling something from deep within his core. "Your species has so much untapped potential," Kira murmured, her voice already stronger. "You feel it, don't you? The energy you never knew you possessed?" Jake did feel it. His awareness expanded, becoming hypersensitive to every vibration in the cave, every shift in temperature. He could feel Kira's heartbeat synchronizing with his own, could sense the desperate hunger driving her. "More," she whispered, pulling herself from the pod with newfound strength. She stood before him, barely reaching his shoulder, her body still weak but gaining vitality with each passing second. "I need more to fully recover, to access what I've protected." She placed her palm against his chest, over his heart. The contact sent heat cascading through Jake's body. His breathing quickened as Kira stepped closer, her other hand sliding up to cup his face. "This frightens you," she said softly, reading him. "Good. Fear means you understand the gravity of what we're doing." "What exactly are we doing?" Jake managed, acutely aware of how close she stood, how her bronze skin seemed to glow brighter with each breath. "Forming a bond that will change both of us forever." Kira's fingers traced along his jawline. "When I'm fully restored, the abilities I can awaken in you, they'll make you something more than human. But the process requires complete trust, complete surrender." Another rumble shook the cave. Dust rained from above. Through the entrance, Jake glimpsed sleek, dark shapes descending from the sky, alien craft, moving with predatory purpose. Kira's grip tightened on him. "They'll kill you to get to me. But if you let me finish feeding, if you give me what I need..." Her violet eyes blazed. "We can stop them together." "Tell me what you need." Kira pulled him down to the cave floor, her body pressing against his. Kira's hands moved across Jake's body with surprising urgency, not sexual, but desperately seeking connection. She pressed her forehead to his, and suddenly his mind exploded with visions. Star systems collapsing, entire civilizations making impossible choices, and at the center of it all, a power so vast it terrified him. "What is that?" Jake gasped, trying to pull away, but Kira held him firm. "The catalyst," she whispered against his skin. "The knowledge my people wanted to weaponize. It's not just information, it's living energy, capable of rewriting the fundamental laws of physics. Whoever possesses it can reshape reality itself." Her lips found the pulse point on his neck, and Jake felt something being pulled from him. Not just energy now, but memories, emotions, his very essence mingling with hers. The sensation teetered between ecstasy and terror. "I'm carrying it inside me," Kira continued, her voice thick with need. "Encoded in my genetic structure. But it's dormant, locked away. To access it, I need a bond strong enough to crack the seal." She looked up at him, vulnerability naked in her eyes. "I need you to want this. Not just agree to it. Want it." Outside, the alien hunters' weapons began scoring the canyon walls, energy blasts that made the ground shake. They were minutes away, maybe less. Jake made his decision. He wrapped his arms around Kira and kissed her deeply. The effect was instantaneous. Light erupted from both their bodies, swirling in patterns that defied geometry. Kira cried out, her back arching as the catalyst within her began to awaken. Jake felt it too. Information flooding his consciousness, reshaping his understanding of everything. He could see energy fields now, the invisible forces that connected all matter. He could feel the approaching hunter's life signatures, could sense their malevolent intent. "Yes," Kira breathed, her hands tangling in his hair. "Yes, like this. Don't stop." They moved together on the cave floor, the intimate contact accelerating the energy transfer. Jake felt his body changing, evolving, cells reorganizing at a molecular level. Strength flooded his muscles, his senses sharpened to impossible clarity, and deeper still, he felt Kira's consciousness merging with his, her millennia of knowledge becoming accessible to him. "The hunters," he said, suddenly aware of exactly how many there were, what weapons they carried, their precise positions. 5 of them. Heavy plasma rifles. They'll breach the cave in 90 seconds. Kira smiled, fierce and wild. "Then we have time." She kissed him again, and this time Jake felt the catalyst fully activate. The cave transformed around them. Stone rippled like water. The air crystallized into geometric patterns that pulsed with living light. Jake and Kira remained at the epicenter, their bodies glowing so brightly they cast no shadows. Through their connection, Jake understood. This was what Kira's people had feared. The catalyst didn't just grant power. It fundamentally altered the wielder's relationship with reality. Thoughts became tangible. Desires reshaped matter. The boundary between possible and impossible dissolved. Now you see, Kira whispered, finally pulling back to look at him. Her features had changed subtly, becoming more human, while Jake felt distinctly less so. The bonding was making them more alike. This is why they exiled me, why they hunt me still. In the wrong hands, the catalyst could unmake entire worlds. And in the right hands? Jake asked, helping her stand. He felt invincible, dangerous, like a god walking in mortal flesh. It could save them. Kira's expression darkened. My people are dying, Jake. A plague consuming us from within. The catalyst is the cure, but our leaders refuse to use it. They feared losing control more than extinction. She gripped his shoulders. I stole it, fled, crashed here, all to find someone worthy of sharing this burden. The cave entrance exploded inward. 5 figures emerged from the smoke, humanoids in sleek armor, faces hidden behind mirrored visors. They moved with military precision, weapons trained on Kira. The lead hunter spoke in a language Jake shouldn't understand, but somehow did. Kira of the Third House, you are charged with treason. Surrender the catalyst or be terminated. Kira stepped forward, placing herself between Jake and the hunters. I won't let you bury this knowledge to preserve your power. Not while our people suffer. Then you choose death. The hunter's finger moved to the trigger. Jake reacted on instinct. He thrust out his hand, and the cave obeyed. Stone flowed like liquid, creating a barrier between them and the hunters. The plasma rifles fired, but the shots dissipated harmlessly against Jake's improvised shield. Impossible, the hunter breathed. The human has been bonded already? Fully bonded, Kira confirmed, moving to stand beside Jake. Together, they were radiant, terrible, beautiful, and I choose him as my partner in protecting the catalyst. Stand down, or face us both. The hunters hesitated. Through his enhanced senses, Jake felt their fear, their uncertainty. They'd come expecting a weakened exile, not this. Last warning, the lead hunter said, his voice shaking slightly. We have authority to use lethal force. Jake looked at Kira. What do we do? She took his hand, and their powers merged, amplified. We show them what the catalyst can truly do. The cave erupted with light as Jake and Kira unleashed the catalyst's power together. Not destructively, they had no desire to kill, but with overwhelming force that rendered the hunter's weapons useless. Metal turned to sand. Energy shields collapsed. The very air became too thick to move through, holding the 5 intruders in place like insects in amber. You don't understand, Kira called out to them, her voice resonating with authority. The catalyst isn't a weapon, it's transcendence, evolution, everything our people were meant to become before fear made them small. Through their bond, she showed Jake a vision of her world, beautiful cities now crumbling, a once proud civilization withering as the plague consumed them. Millions of lives hanging in the balance, waiting for a cure their own leaders refused to seek. I can save them, Kira continued, tears streaming down her face. With the catalyst fully awakened, bonded to someone who understands both my people and humanity, I can synthesize a cure. But only if you let me try. The lead hunter's visor retracted, revealing a weathered face marked with the early signs of the plague, dark veins spreading across his skin. Even if what you say is true, the High Council will never allow it. They'll send armies. Then let them come, Jake said, surprised by the steel in his own voice. Kira and I are bonded now. What we've become, it's not something armies can fight. He wasn't boasting. Through the catalyst, he could feel the immensity of their combined potential. They could reshape matter, bend energy, alter the fundamental forces that governed existence. Together, they were a force of nature. But more than power, Jake felt the weight of responsibility. Kira had chosen him not because he was special, but because he was willing to sacrifice for others. To use impossible power not for dominion, but for healing. Return to the High Council, Kira instructed the hunters. Tell them the catalyst is awakened and bonded. Tell them I offer one final choice. Let me cure our people, or watch our entire species fade into extinction because of their pride. The hunters exchanged glances. Slowly, reluctantly, they lowered their weapons. We'll deliver your message, the lead hunter said. But Kira, they'll come for you, for both of you, with everything they have. I know. Kira's hand tightened around Jake's. We'll be ready. The hunters departed, their ship rising into the dawn sky. Jake and Kira stood at the cave entrance, watching the sunrise paint the canyon in shades of gold and crimson. So what now? Jake asked. We can't go back to normal life, not after this. Kira turned to him, her expression serious but hopeful. Now we change everything. We synthesize the cure. We prove the catalyst can heal, not harm, and we prepare for the fight that's coming. She cupped his face gently. I've bound my fate to yours, Jake Morrison. For better or worse, we're partners now, in all things. Jake kissed her, feeling the energy crackling between them. Then let's show them what we can do, together. As the sun rose higher, the cave behind them began to transform. The catalyst's power, guided by their combined will, was already at work, creating a laboratory, a fortress, a sanctuary where impossible science could flourish. Everything had changed. Everything would continue to change. And Jake and Kira stood ready to face whatever came next, together, bonded, and armed with the power to reshape reality itself. The real choice, as Kira had promised, was still theirs, and they chose hope.